Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start the class with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Bhur Bhava Swaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. Om Sehna Bhavatu, Sehna Bhunatu, Seviryam Karvavahi, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidveshavahi. Om Shanti 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 Om. So today is the day for Vivekachudamani. And we ended our class with verse number 314 last Saturday. And what we are learning in this group of verses is how to renounce the karma, the thoughts, and the vasanas. So actions, thoughts, and vasanas. Okay? You have to learn how to renounce them, detach from them. So in the verse number 314, where we ended our last week's class, he said, in order to snap the chain of transmigration, because otherwise, if we don't renounce these three, we keep coming back here again and again. And the goal is to snap it. So in order to snap the chain of transmigration, one should burn to ashes these two, he talks about in this verse, thinking of sense objects and doing selfish actions, which lead to increase the vasanas. So selfish actions. Okay. So first we let go of the selfish actions, then eventually all the actions, they go away. Even we are doing the actions, but we are not attached to the actions. We become a karmi, or a karam yogi, or a karam sannyasi. Okay, so this is what that's what we learned. So watch your mind. What does it do all day long? Is it continuously thinking of the sense objects? We use the word chintya. And then through the sense objects and sense organs, is our mind just continuously going outwardly? Watch that. Okay. So it's not just during meditation alone. Other times also we got to watch our mind. What is it doing? And if some selfish thought does come, turn around it quickly. Do not let it dwell over the selfishness or the worldliness or the sense object. Switch it fast with the help of the mantra. Whatever mantra you want to use, with the help of the mantra. Just do a turnabout. That's what he's telling us. So he says, beware of the low thoughts at all times. Carefully sublimate them with the divine thoughts. So we'll always have the thoughts. As long as we have a mind, we'll have thoughts. Instead of selfish thoughts, the worldly thoughts, thoughts about the objects, have the thoughts about God, divine thoughts. Let's look at number 315 and 316. They go together. Tabhyam purvardhamanaha sasutehe samsritim atmanaha triyanam chukshe upayaha sarv avasthasuhu. Tabhyam purvardhamanaha. Tabhyam means by these two, Parvardhamanaha, nourished or augmented. So means that. That means vasana. So we are talking about the vasanas over here. Sute produces some sritim, transmigration. Okay, this journey coming and going again and again. Atmana, once, Triya Nam of these three, Cha means and, Kashaya Upaya, the means of destruction. Sarva avasthasu, under all circumstances. Sarvada, always. Augmented by these two. Okay. The vasanas produce a person's transmigration. And what are those two? The one he talked about in the last verse, those two. These three, however, are destroyed by looking upon everything, under all circumstances, always, everywhere, in all respect, as Brahm alone. This is what he's saying in Sarvatra, Sarvata, Sarva, Brahm Matra Avalokane. Sat bhav vasana dadayat, tat trayam layam ashnute. So this is verse number 316. So I said they go together, both of them. So sarvatra means everywhere. Sarvata in all respects. Sarva means all. Brahma matra avalokane, by looking upon everything as pure Brahma. Because everything is Brahma. We just look at it. We are superimposing other things on Brahma. Sat bhava vasana dadayat, through the strong thinking of the longing to be one with the reality. So that intense desire to become one with God. Tattatrayam, these three, layam ashnute, get annihilated. So these three, however, are destroyed by looking upon everything, under all circumstances, always, everywhere, and in all respects, as Brahma and Brahma alone. Through the strengthening of the longing to be one with Brahma. So this kind of a desire, strong desire, these three will be annihilated. These three means thoughts, actions, and vasanas. These are the three he's talking about. So only method, he says, is available in order to destroy this, is recognize everything, nothing but Brahma. Under all conditions, all times, all circumstances. Otherwise, what happens? Our vasanas keep on increasing. This is the only way we can do the reduction of our vasanas. So normally what happens, we see something and we say, oh, beautiful. Then our mind right away travels into a certain channel. When will I have it? How much does it cost? How come somebody else has it and I don't have it? Before we know, our mind has gone somewhere else. And along the way, we have cultivated or multiplied the vasanas. But if we say, yeah, that's beautiful, it's divine, God, Brahma, stop it there. So sincerely move your thoughts towards God. And what is that called? Bhakti Devotion. Okay. So this is what he is teaching us. Seeing Brahma everywhere, Brahma Avalokanam. So it's not just merely saying that everything God's God. Sure, vocally we are saying it's God, but the thoughts got to be there too. The bhavana has to be that way too, which is called a adhyatma vasana, spiritual vasana. So if a color to our vasanas becomes spiritual, then it's not a worldly vasana. That's how we add the divinity into it, godly vasana. So from the Vishya vasana to divine vasana. Vishya vasana is the sense objects. Divine vasana is just God. That is a bhakti. And that is called a sadbhava vasana. So even in the relationships, sadbhava. This kind of a person is very gentle, very caring, pleasing to hear also. Like yesterday we had this Auntie Ji in our class. Her words, when she speaks, sure she's speaking like us. She's also talking about God, singing God's bhajan. The way she was singing, it's just like the frequency in her voice. It really touched all of us. It's a sadbhava vasana. We got to cultivate that. Sadbhava. What happens is with that kind of a bhavana, this hunger for the outer world, it just diminishes. Whether it's a hunger for the sense objects, or hunger to be with somebody, or a hunger to have somebody, or hunger to go somewhere, hunger to have praise, all those hungers, they go away with this sadbhava vasana. And that's why he used the word Brahma Matra Avalokanam. All you are seeing is Brahma everywhere. Brahma Matra Avalokanam. These are the terms used in the Upanishads also. Brahma Matra Avalokanam. So taste for the sense objects, it retires. You don't even know when it retires. It just goes away so easily without any effort. Scriptures, they use the term rasopasatye paradrishtvaha nirvartate. Just like to see this sense objects, sensuous world, no desire at all to see it. And you didn't even make any effort. You think, how did this happen? And that's why when we were studying that Ishyavasyam Upanishad, what did the Rishi say? He says, Idam sarvam yadyam atma. Like no matter where you see, it's only the Brahma. Nothing else but Brahma. All this is but the Brahma. All this is but the self. So then you can see the triple cause for the transmigration of our vasanas, our thoughts and actions. Of course, they're going to go away. Okay, so this is what he's giving us how to renounce it. He's giving us a very clear direction what to do. He says, just keep seeing Brahma everywhere. Let's move on to 317. Kriya nashe bhavet chinta nashaha asmat vasanakshaya vasana prakshaya mokshaha sajivan mukti ishyate. Kriya nashe, with the end of the selfish actions. So in order to end our selfish actions, we have to make an effort. That is a sadhana. But with the end of selfish actions, bhavet, there is chinta nasha, the end of any worrying, brooding. Because anybody who is selfish will have a lot of worries also. If you want to really see a worry-free person is only who doesn't have any selfishness. Okay? So chinta nasha, the end of the chintas. Asmat, by this, vasanakshaya, the destruction of vasanas. Vasana prakshaya, the total destruction of vasanas. Moksha, liberation. Some means that jivan mukti, liberation in life. Ishyate is considered. We often wonder who is a jivan mukt person. This is a jivan mukt person. So he says, with the end of selfish actions, brooding over sense objects ends, which is followed by the destruction of the vasanas. The destruction of vasanas is liberation. Okay? And this is considered as liberation while living. Jivan mukta person. Okay? So we are not jivan mukta, but we can be jivan mukta, or at least we can move towards that direction if we let go of the selfishness. Keep an eye. My actions, my thoughts, my behavior, is it selfish or selfless? That's how the vasanas also, they become less and less. What is a vasana? If you're wondering, what is a vasana? The impressions in our mind. Those are vasanas. Okay. So every action, there is some kind of effect of the action. Some effect we see right away in the outer world, but then there's an inner effect also in our chit, in our mind. That is a vasana. And because of that effect, our future actions depend upon. It's like a cycle. It's a cycle of our mind, keeps on rotating. So right now we are in a human body, we are doing the actions. So where we can change it from changing our actions from selfish actions to selfless actions. That is the point where we can change. That's what Shankaracharya is telling us. Because these three, the vasana, thoughts, and karma, they are closely interconnected. This is called a chain of causation. All these three together. One is the cause for the other one following. So if we have a sensuous actions, sensuous thoughts, sensuous vasanas. So the cycle just keeps on going. Selfless actions, they will. So we can always change from the grosser. Because somebody says, no, I got to change my vasanas first. Only then I can change my actions. No, that's not how it works. First, the actions. Actions are solid. They're grosser. So we got to do the actions selflessly. Then eventually the thoughts will become like that, and vasanas will become like that too. So we want to, sure, ultimately we got to end the vasanas. But if our vasanas are selfish, we cannot end them. Okay? Only selfless vasanas are capable of destruction. Okay? So try to attack at the grosser level. Actions, and then the thoughts, and then the vasanas. So it's almost like a very intelligent way to control. Okay? So regulate all your activities so that fresh channels is positive. Because we are the creator of our vasanas. We are the creator of our thoughts. So we got to take the responsibility of changing them. We cannot have absence of vasanas right away. Okay, even though that is the goal, but this is how what he is recommending it to us. So let's look at number 318. Sadvasanaha safurti vijrimbhane sati hi asau vilinaha aham adi vasanaha ati prakrishtaha api arun prabhayam viliyate sadhu yatha tamistraha. Sadvasana, that's a longing for reality, sad, the truth. Safurti vijrimbhane sati, vividly risen to expression. Safurti, it's like it has come into life. He means verily, asau, this, vilina, disappear. Api means also, aham adi vasana, the egocentric vasana. Ati prakrishtaha, the most intense. Api means even though, arun prabhayam, in the glow of the rising sun. Arun means sun. Viliyate, disappears. Sadhu, completely. Yatha means just as. Tamistra, darkness. When the longing to be one with the Brahma has vividly risen to expression, the egocentric vasanas will readily disappear. As the most intense darkness completely disappears in the glow of rising sun. Okay, so what he's suggesting, that sure, change your actions, the karma, from a selfish to the selfless. Then at the same time, have this intense feeling to see Brahma. So this is from both ends you are working on. So these sad vasanas, the vasanas for the reality, will help us. Because the life of a seeker has changed. The sadhaks, with the help of this kind of a sadhana, the outside is changing and the inside is changing too. And before you know, all the darkness will disappear. This person, the Jivan Mukt person, recognizes only God. God ever present everywhere. No likes or dislikes. Only thing we see in this kind of a personality is love, kindness, tolerance, mercy. These kind of expressions, that is a sadbhavana, sadvasana. No selfishness, no arrogance, no me and mine. Same God everywhere. So that means the asatvasanas are eliminated by the sadvasanas. Okay, and this is the sadhana. At present, if we look at our life, it's a very strong life of identification. Identification with this body, identification with the form we are worshipping also. Too many physical identifications. So we got to dissolve that. We got to start seeing God everywhere. One God. That brilliance. And that's what he says. Once this light we see, me and mine, you and yours will disappear. Because that's what the darkness is. And that's why he is giving us a beautiful example over here. When the sun is risen, where does the darkness go? We don't even know. It just rolls away automatically. So once we see the God everywhere, then where is the room for darkness? No darkness at all. So sad vasanas remove the asat vasanas. And when the asat vasanas are all removed, you are Jivan Mukta. Next one, 319. Tamaha karyam anarth jalam na drishyate sati udite dineshe tatha adve anand rasanubhutau na va asti bandha na cha dukh gandha. Tama, darkness. Tama karyam. Those are the resultant evils of darkness. Tama karyam. The outcome of the darkness. Anarth jalam, numerous calamities. Anartha. Na drishyate, are not noticed. Sati udite, dineshe, when the sun has risen. Okay. Dinesh, that's also sun. Arun is the sun, Dinesh is sun. Ish of the din, Dinesh, sun. Tatha means also, Adve Anand Ras Anubhutau, on realization of the essence of the non-dual bliss. Adve Anand Ras Anubhutau. Na means not, Va means verily. Asti is bandha, bondage. Na means not, cha means and, dukh gandha. Not even a trace of misery or suffering. Dukh gandha. Na cha dukh gandha. Darkness and its resultant evils. Okay, tama karyam. So darkness and its resultant evils are not noticed when the sun rises. So too, on realization of bliss absolute, there is neither bondage nor the least trace of misery. So tamas is darkness, and darkness means night. And the things which are born out of darkness, we are familiar with. If we walk out in a dark, what can happen? We can tip over, fall down, we can wound ourselves, or we can get attacked also by somebody, somewhere. It could be animal, it could be some kind of a person also. Those are tamakaryam. Darkness and the effect of the darkness. That's why they say the tamas loots away our peace. Even the tamasic nature loots our peace. Sattvic nature keeps us peaceful. So when the Lord of the day, which is the sun, rises, he says both the darkness and its effects are totally lifted. During the daytime, we go outside, we are not afraid. We can see what is the obstruction. At night, we don't see that. So when the sun rises, not only the darkness, but the entire bundle of sorrows or the limitations which are created by the darkness, they disappear immediately. So he says the same thing happens when there's a presence of God. Even though God is present, but when the presence of God is felt by our mind, what happens? Our behavior becomes better. Our thoughts, they change. Our actions change. All those stupid actions, they go away. That's why often people say when we are in the mandir or when we are near our Guru, our thoughts are different. We are more peaceful. Effect of the presence of a sun in our life. So when we can feel that all the time, we can see that what will happen to our personality. And then at the end, he says, for a person who has experienced supreme bliss, there is not even a whiff of sorrow. That's what he's saying over here. Nacha dukh gandha. Not even a little bit of misery in that person's personality. Because he has no bondage, no conditionings, no attachment to the body, mind, and intellect. So where can there be a sorrow? When identification is only with the bliss, the Atma and the Paramatma, where can there be a sorrow? Sorrow belongs to only the limitations, not to Atma or Paramatma. So the blissful condition of perfect release and the joy. And let's look at what he says in the next verse, 320, because it's all connected, all these verses. When you study, just take the essence of one verse and carry it forward into the next one. That's how these verses are supposed to be studied. Drishyam partitam pravilapyan sanmatram anandghanam vibhavyan samahitasan bahiyantram vakalam nayetha sati karam bandhe. Drishyam. Drishya is the world, the scene. Partitam, perceived. Pravilapyan san, causing it to vanish. Sanmatram, the reality. Anandghanam, the bliss embodied. Vibhavyan, meditating upon. Samahitasan, being vigilant. Bahi, external. Antaram, internal. Va means or. Kalam, time. Nayetha, should pass. Sati karam bandhe, for any residual prarabdha. Sati karam bandhe. See, karam bandhe is always associated with the prarabdha. What he is trying to tell us over here is stay total vigilant. Don't relax. Causing the perceived universe, both external and internal, to vanish, and meditating upon the reality, the bliss embodied, one should pass one's time watchfully for any residual prarabdha. And we all know what prarabdha is. The actions which were done by us, they could be physical action, verbal actions, actions at the thought level. Combination or one of them done in the past, and effect of that we have brought in this lifetime. That's called prarabdha. Okay, so we are the creator of our prarabdha. And that's why prarabdha is called a destiny also, a fate also, prarabdha. But we created it. And all this can happen only when all the three factors, what are the three factors? The vasanas, the thoughts, and the actions. They are there. They are the one who created. But we are here to eliminate them. We did not eliminate in the past. And we are carrying forward that prarabdha with us. And prarabdha is very powerful. And we all have to live our prarabdha. We can definitely, we have a control over our Kriyaman Karam, the current Karam. Sanchit Karam also, we can do something with it. But Prarabdha Karam, we have to live through. Okay, because the fruit has been given to us, then we have to live through. It's very strong. It cannot be ended with the Purushartha. Okay. Purushartha means the self-effort. So what is our strategy then? How we can walk on this path of spirituality if our prarabdha is so strong, which doesn't let us walk on it? That means we have to work harder. If from our prarabdha karmas we have brought the spiritual prarabdha, it's easier. It's easier to walk. So that's why they say, if we are born in a human body and we have an inclination towards spirituality, and then we find a guru also, consider yourself very fortunate that your prarabdha is helping you. And if you miss this time, start walking on the other path. We don't know when will be the next time when we get this kind of opportunity to be born as a human being, where the intellect is so high, which can understand all this. So we should not waste this lifetime. Because a person who is still under the sway of the prarabdha, it's still like a sadhak, the seeker. But when we become a siddha, we are going through the prarabdha, but that prarabdha is not affecting us. That is a siddha. That's why we see some saintly people, they go through a lot of ailments, a lot of tough times in life, but it doesn't affect them. That's a siddha personality. Bodies are going through, conditions are going through, but they don't get affected by it. They know how to stay up like a lotus flower. But if we get affected, that means we need to do more sadhana. So a sadhak can become a siddha. But a siddha also is going through the prarabdha, but does not get affected by it. But as a sadhak, we do. But we got to remember this though. By keeping in our mind that how a siddha is going through it. That is the reason sometimes we see that avatars also, God realized personalities also, they go through tough times too. They don't have to, but they still go through it so that we can learn from them. As a sadhak, we can learn from them. Otherwise, they are in control of this nature. But they just go through it. So, but for us over here, he is telling us constantly keep on doing the sadhana. Remember God. Keep on making your vasanas pure and pure by doing the selfless actions. Okay? We must live through our prarabdha and do not become careless about it. So this is the main message from this verse when he says that watchfully, do it carefully. Do not become careless. Okay. Let's do one more, 321. Now he's using that word, very strong word, parmad. And we saw this term in Yoga Darshan also. Parmad is one of the obstacles. You remember those 9 obstacles Rishi Patanjali pointed out for a sadhak? Parmad is one of them. Yeah. Parmadaha brahmanishthyayam na kartavya kadachana parmadaha mrityu iti aha bhagwan brahmanah suta. Parmad is carelessness, negligence. Brahmanishthyayam, in the steady abidance in Brahma. Na kartavyaha, should not be done. Kadachan, at any time. Parmadaha mrityu, carelessness is death. Iti means thus, aha means has said, Bhagwan, Brahmanaha Suta, that is a divine son of Brahma, the creator. And he is referring to Sanat Kumar here. Sanat Kumar. One should never neglect one's steady attunement with Brahma. Okay, so this connection or thinking that Brahma is everywhere, he says, don't become negligent about it. Bhagwan Sanat Kumar, the creator's own son, has called carelessness death itself. So carelessness is so bad. It's like a death. Death to whom? To a sadhak. So all this is for a person, for a student, for a sadhak who want to reach to the highest. So we got to make a continuous attempt to hold on to this Brahmanishtha, that everything is Brahma. Constant awareness, constant remembrance of the Lord. Do not let this slip away from your mind. Not even a short time. That's what this really means. Pramad means it's like you don't want to take a chance. Be very careful. Don't forget. Don't become a forgetful person. Remember, Brahma is everywhere constantly. It's not just only the form of the God does help us, but eventually we got to remember the God in me and a God in everybody else also. So same consciousness. Contemplate upon it. In no circumstance, no place, at no time should you ever forget this reality. That's why all those little rituals before eating, before sleeping, before getting up, or right after getting up, before leaving the house, when we come back also. I mean, there's so many places we have to just take our mind towards this. That thank you, God. Whether we are thanking God or whether we are remembering God, but God, nothing else but God. So in no circumstance, no place, no time should you ever forget Brahma. Constantly remember him in your inner heart. So this forgetfulness, he says, is a death for us. We are studying on Tuesdays Mahabharata. You will see that this conversation between Sanat Kumar and Dhritarashtra will come. Okay, you will see that. Over there, that is like a Udyog Parva of Mahabharata. That's where this conversation is going to come. And the words are Parmad ve mrityul aram bravimi. I call Parmad, or the carelessness itself, death, from Mahabharata. Okay, so this is the Parmad. See, carelessness, even in the actions outside in the world, it can cause us a lot of grief. If we become careless while cooking, careless while walking, driving, right? Everywhere we are supposed to be very careful. But over here, the carelessness is at a different level, forgetting the ultimate reality. That is a mrityu itself. Okay, so let's end the class here, and we'll start next week with 322. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.